Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to TechGeek webinar series, our endeavor to empower techies. We believe that sharing of knowledge is the key to enhance our skills and grow us as professionals. With this principle in mind, we have initiated a series of webinars conducted by industry experts to give you all a crisp insight of various domains. The topic of today's session is use of big data sources to solve challenges for banks and financial institutions. Start predictive analytics. Our guest speaker today is Mr. Abhay K. Srivastava, Manager Risk Analytics and Basel Implementation at Essex Lake Group LLC. Abhay, manager with Essex Lake Group, has over 7 years of experience in the field of risk, marketing, advanced analytics for different domains, especially banking, card and mortgage industry, covering healthcare and insurance as well. Prior to joining Essex Lake Group, he has worked with Inductus, where he led the marketing analytics team for largest Asian bank, participated as a lead modeler in Heritage Health data mining competition, where EXL was on first rank till that time, established the Basel II analytics team for largest UK-based credit card issuer. He was also in-house trainer for SAS modeling in Genpact. He has been speaker of other predictive analytics webinar series. Prior to Inductus, he has worked with Quantitative Consulting, Genpact and Aspen Communication Private Limited. He is BSc Honours in Statistics, Gold Medalist from BHU and MSc from IIT Kanpur. So without further delay, I introduce you all to our guest speaker. Over to you, Mr. Abhay.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks Mohini for introducing myself, and so let me start with this session with what we are going to present today and what we will talk. So let me set out the agenda for today's session, that we should be on the same path and same understanding that what we are going to talk from right now to 45 to 60 minutes. I hope it would be helpful for you for your day-to-day work and for next assignment, and people who are working on analytics, people who are ensembling IT solution to analytics, people who are working on data. And so the agenda for today's session is not about how to what is big data in details as such and how the organizations are handling it. My agenda is today to talk about big data, that basic concept of big data. What is big data? What is impact of big data on the organizations? What are the problems due to big data? How can we use big data? Rather saying it is a problem, we can say it is a boon for us. And my focus will be connecting big data to analytics solutions, how to generate the insights and solutions from big data to make a kind of fancy reports to our organization's leaders without delaying, so saving the time, optimizing the efforts, and providing the better solutions and enhancing the profitability. So to do this, what are different tools and techniques, what are the different ongoing analytical models are going on, where the software is playing a key role, we will talk about these all. The domain which I will be covering will be mostly on banks and financial institutions. I have over 7 years of experience working with banks and financial institutions. I have seen lots of problems due to the lack of data. So for me, if we are getting a huge amount of data in a different way, in a variety of manners, I think it's a benefit for banks, it's a benefit for organization to handle those data and create some better insights to enhance the profitability. So we'll talk about big data, analytical solution, banks, problems and challenges, and at the end, how we are collaborating big data, analytical solutions, software solutions to solve the bank's problems and challenges, which are nowadays is a kind of, uh, a big tension for the bank's leader, that how to handle these data sources to provide a fruitful information to the bankers to play the key role to generate the revenue and huge profitability for the organizations. So I think agenda is clear. So let's move on the slide number 2. In slide number 2, it's competing on analytics with big data, and so I am on slide number 2. Here we can see that there are lots of newspaper cuttings, channels are talking about big data, books are getting published on big data. So lots of CNBC, Los Angeles Times, Fox magazine, Digital Digest book, data everywhere. The Economist is talking about big data. So everywhere we are talking nowadays about big data. So what is big data? How to handle this big data? Why are we talking about big data? Why it is kind of so making so tense to the industry that every organization is talking about big data, recruiting people, setting up the software instrument, and talking about big data to develop a kind of product which can handle. So we can see that big data has become a business issue, or at least an issue that business people are aware of. Look at the coverage it's getting in the business processes, from Wall Street journals to the Financial Times to Forbes and Twitter. Why is it getting this kind of coverage? Because it has the potential to profoundly affect the way to business. The quote to CNBC really amplifies this. So CNBC channel is saying that data is the new oil. The Clive Hamby on CNBC told that data is the new oil. What does it mean? Data is a natural resources that is growing bigger. Like and resources, it is difficult to extract. It comes in many types or a huge variety. It is also difficult to refine or analyze. Many organizations do not even tap into these natural resources. They ignore data, or they just use it for one purpose. They do not know how to use for different purposes, or how to collect this data to get more information. If data is natural resources, what is your company doing? What is your company doing to capitalize the big data? This is the biggest questions nowadays. So why don't we use the big data to capitalize the information, to enhance revenue, to make more profit, and be on a secure mode to provide the best results to our customer and clients? So let's move on slide number 3. So we can see the transactional workloads versus analytical workloads. Two very different requirements for storing and processing data. So nowadays we are so used to work on the social side. We used to work using every transaction by cards, which we can say plastic, like debit card, credit card. So when a customer visits through the internet or any shops, they make a transaction, business transaction. Let's say you went to purchase a t-shirt. So everybody is storing data. So we can say we can store it as an item, cost, and customer. So next time where you go, we have the record as that Abhay has purchased this shirt amount $34. This can be further used to identify the customer. This can be further used for the shopkeeper to see who visited, what is the revenue, how much is he visiting to our shop, when will he visit next time, how can we promote offers, how can we do lots of sales and sales marketing through this customer. So we are storing lots of data. We can generate more columns and more information about that customer, by uh, typing more information, and we can store in a data warehouse, kind of a small data set for the small shop. And when we collect this information and make this transaction level of data on daily basis, we add monthly data information, and we kind of create a kind of data warehouse. How to use this data? We go to business analyst, ask that we need a kind of complex query. This is our query, so we can ask any type of problem. Let's say sales and profit for shoes and belts for year greater than 2005. So the person who is doing analytics for us can provide a kind of very fancy and very mannerful reports to to clients, that this is the way you have, you can see about the customer, the question you have asked. So rather than looking and working on your mouse here and there, now I got a kind of very nice dashboard where I can exactly see how my shops is running, what is the revenue in each month, what are the year-wise information. So everything which I want to see in my business, everything which I want to explore, using that data, using that analytical person, we can get those information. It's only that you need to keep data, you need to keep an analytics expert, you need to keep a data warehouse expert and software person who can collate this information to provide you a very mannerful reports, which saves your time, which makes you to think how to enhance the business strategy, what kind of strategy you can apply further, looking at the report. So let's move on slide number 4. We can see that big data. What is volume? What is variety of data? What is velocity? So if you see, the volume has been so large that in the predictors are saying in 2020 the data volume will reach around 35 zettabytes. It's a huge volume. So you can see. So data is explicitly, it is predicted to reach to 35 zettabytes in 2020. You can imagine how much information are we going to have in 2020. So how to handle this data? Which software is necessary to handle this data? And this phenomena is affecting every organization. Their data is growing too, but most organizations use only 10 to 20% of data available to them. And of the data, they may utilize it for only one purpose. They don't know how to use this data. There is velocity in data. It's a dynamic, sometimes time varying data. So whenever we say dynamic or sometimes time varying data, it means if there is a velocity in data, the predictions, the analytical solution, the approach are large. We can easily explore them. We can make a better model rather than a static data. So velocity data is better for our model, for our analytics purpose, for our understanding. Variety, 80% of world's data is unstructured. Can you believe this? 80% of data is unstructured. So you can see how big is the scope of big data, even to make unstructured data to structured data. We can say, several software engineers, analytical person can sit together and do brainstorming to make this unstructured data to structured data. Even we cannot think without being structured any further solution. So our first and primary step is to make it structured data. Many insights are logged within unstructured data. In order to analyze that data, it needs to be brought into one platform in its native format. Until unless we will not get the data on one platform, we cannot use this in a way, the way we want to make it as profitable. This requires new type of analysis, that is text analysis, to analyze the data. So nowadays, due to lots of social networking sites, telecom uses, lots of plastic uses, we do get lots of text data, image data, audio, video record. If we somehow can manage this unstructured and variety of data and velocity of data to a platform where we can make it structured and in a kind of platform where we do not need to explore several data warehouses, data mart, we only need to explore a data warehouse from where we run a query, we can take whatever the information we want by using one data warehouses only, rather going here and there and using several data warehouses. Big data needs to be governed and organized, needs to make decisions and the trustworthiness of the data, and to test the data. Without trust, there is no action or adoption of new insights from big data. So our aim is not to only make data structured, our aim is also to make this structured data trustworthy for the organization who are going to use. There are several private agencies in US. I do not have much idea about India, but about US geography, when I was working, there are several private agencies who do this kind of exercise to make a kind of data warehouses platform, and they do keep adding the data information for the customers, and they sell it to the market, to the organization, corporate, to analyze this data, and they do make lots of money only selling these big data. So you can think how much economy is moving around this big data. Even a simple data information is being sold in $1. So you can how even selling the data is a kind of big businesses in US and other geography across the world. Let's move to the slide number 5. Number, how many data in the world? You can see we had only 800 terabytes in 2000. In 2006, it was 160 exabyte. In 2009, it has been 500 exabyte. In 2012, it's 2.7 zettabytes. And in 2020, as I told you, that it is being forecasted that it would reach around 35 zettabytes. Had it been possible without customer? No. Customer is using lots of social sites, telecom, plastic to provide the information. It's only that organizations need to capture these information to analyze these data and to reach out on a fruitful discussion about the customer's insight. Only then we can make profit, we can solve the challenges, we can solve the problems around customers, around clients, around organizations. How many data generated one day? 7 terabyte on Twitter, 10 terabyte on Facebook. It's a huge number of data. It's a huge number. So you can see it's a Twitter and Facebook information. We are getting LinkedIn. We are getting other social network sites, job sites. If we start adding those sites, I cannot imagine how big data we could have to analyze. And it's a big problem for us. Why is it a boon? So I won't say it's a problem. I can say it's a boon only if we are able to analyze. If we are not able to analyze, it's kind of gin which will destroy the industry, because we will kind of not able to provide any information because of unstructured data. So big data is the next frontier for innovation, competition and productivity. Innovation in the sense, when we have lots of information, our analytical capabilities, our mathematical approaches can be a kind of solution to provide the information, and we could be innovative to think that how, in which manner we should provide the information, what model we should apply, what mathematical approach we should apply to generate, to make this data useful for the organizations. Let's move to slide number 6. Why is big data important? Some sectors are concerned for greater gains from the use of big data, like banks, healthcare industry, social media sites, job sites. They are using this big data information to make profits. You can see on slide number 6 the cluster wise phenomena of data. The x-axis is big data value potential index across the cluster. So you can see computer and electronic products, information, wholesale trade, administration support and waste management, manufacturing, transportation and warehousing, professional services, finance and insurance, real estate and rental, utilities, retail trade, healthcare providers, government, accommodation and food, natural resources, etc. etc. Many organizations are having breakthrough outcomes using the big data platform. They are able to know everything about their customers, run zero latency operations, innovate new products at speed and scale, have interest, awareness of fraud and risk, and exploit instrumented assets as they never have been before. They are able to do this by expanding beyond the traditional sources of data to truly any source of data. Transactional and application data combined with machine generated data, that is logs, sensor, network data, to combine with the social media data and the content data. When I say content data, let's say you type on Google that anything, let's say you are searching something, let's say look, I want to know how to write C, I want to know how to switch. So these are the content data, these are the text data. If we combined our transactional data and application data, which are our traditional data warehouses, to this kind of data which we talked right now, we could have better information. We can see Gartner Hype Cycle 2 on slide number 7. You can see how the technology is triggered, how the peak of inflated expectation through up disillusionment, slope of enlightenment. You can see lots of content are here. And In right side of the slide, you see the predictive analytics, speech recognition, location aware application, mobile application, idea management, operation research, e-book readers, virtual work, hosted virtual data. So lots of data in different varieties, in a different way. And in order to capitalize on this variety of big data, the organization utilize new big data capabilities. If you will not use new big data capabilities, if you will use only our traditional approaches, we are gone. We cannot compete the market. To solve this problem, many organizations are using Hadoop to analyze raw data and reduce the cost of data warehouse. Data warehousing appliances to optimize warehouse performance for deep analytics. Stream computing to analyze data in motion. Text analytics to analyze textual content. And information integration and governance to establish trust in information, or to burn big data into good data. So till now we discussed about the big data problem, how the big data is converting as a problem. But if we use our brain capabilities, proactiveness, and look at this as a natural resource, we can make big data a good data. We can say technology has given us a boon by giving the big data resources. It's only in our hand how much we capitalize this data. If we are failure to capitalize this data, we cannot build a very fruitful result. Because if someone or some organization is reaching out to client with an extended source of data and we are not able to analyze that extended source of data, we are not able to capture those extended level of data, we can never be in the race of competition. We need to think what is Hadoop is doing? What are the different other ways to create a parallel platform like Hadoop? Hadoop is not only solution. There are many organizations, there are IBM, even LinkedIn has LinkedIn has created its own data warehouse. So the same way, it's depend on us how to analyze this big data to create a massive impact on the analysis. Let's move on to slide number 8, where we talk about the large-scale visual analytics. The visual analytics is the science of analytical reasoning by interactive visual interfaces. When we say visual analytics and interface, then we say that there are level of interface which being generated by the different data sources and social sites. People use visual analytics tools and techniques to synthesize information and derive insights from massive, dynamic, ambiguous, and often conflicting data. Detect the expected and discover the unexpected. Provide timely, defensible, and understandable assessments. Communicate assessment effectively for action. How to use this kind of analytics which we did right now? There are different software which handles. So if I remember in my college life, we used to work on the MATLAB, R, Minitab, SPSS, Statica, etc., etc. Then we heard that software SAS came into the market. We thought, why SAS is coming? Because whatever we want to do, we can do by this software. But when we came to know about SAS feature, we got to know SAS is very strong in handling the big data. That time the big banks analytics has came into the market. People had started data using analytics. You know, banks had transaction level of record. So the data was huge, and SAS was the only software which handled this big data. But nowadays, that big data has been in terabyte. Now we are going to talk about the zettabytes. Is SAS or MATLAB able to handle this data? We need to ask this question. If yes, how? If not, what would be the new software? So there are plenty numbers of scopes, even not in analytics, in software, to develop and connect a new software product which can handle the big data. Based on that, using that software, we can analyze that data to visualize the analytics, to detect the expected and discover the unexpected, forecast the things, and play a new massive king role in the field of analytical software solutions. Let's move on slide number 9. Banking category is not changing. We are not going from retail, private, corporate, big corporate, small and medium companies to anywhere. It's not like that we are going to change whole banking philosophy. It's only that customer profiles and relation requirements are changing. Consumer has been as a customer. Private banking customer but still a consumer. Professionals as a customer but still a consumer. Latest user device technology and user advantage required in all profile interactivity. Mobility to 24/7 across to full service will be a must. Bank of one will be a must. Is the ITIS of our banks ready? So due to the competition within the banks and across the organizations, due to the social media, due to the kind of consumer or customer is using mobile, everything is on mobile nowadays. You can use social media, you can text, you can withdraw the limit, you can submit the money, you can take DD, you can deposit the money, everything. So mobility is one of the key things which made data large. We can access mobile, there is lot about data. We do not want to visit banks. We want to sit on our laptop and can access all banks, can do everything. We do not want to meet the people. Here we are sitting on social media sites, job sites, and we are talking to the people. We are getting our problems done. We are getting people connected. We are doing our businesses across online and internet. So data is growing on daily basis. Is bank ready? Is the IT department of bank ready to understand the kind of rapid growth of data, the kind of customers interaction with the internet, UI technologies? Can we maintain that force of data? For that, banks need to be strong. Bank needs to have a very strong IT team. Bank needs to have a very strong analytical team to understand what's happening on their side. Until bank will not do that, they are going to face lots of challenges and problems. Because in 2000, customer had a very low expectation. In 2010, they had a medium expectation. In 2020, how the zettabyte data are coming? Because customers' expectation, customers' usability, customers' mobility has been increased 50 times more than 2010. So we are getting lots of data, and to survive for that, banks need to implement a very strong platform. On the next slide, trends in retail banking. What are the regulations and compliance? So IFRS 9, Basel 2, Basel 3, CAD. So across the geography, different banks has different regulations and compliance to keep eyes on the banks, to run the banks in a better way. Demographic changes. Due to social media, due to the mobility of job, people's demographic information are changing. Changing customer and consumer behavior. Customers take over control, ROP, plus pay model. Everything is site and mobile. How to analyze this consumer behavior? What are the different analytical approach to analyze consumer behavior? We will talk further in the next couple of slides. But due to this behavior of consumer, there are lots of data. There are lots of data to analyze those consumers. And if you don't analyze, you are going to be failed. New entrants into banking market. Vodafone, Google, PayPal and retailer. Earlier we used to visit to the shops and purchase the things. Now there are Flipkart, there are PayPal, Google, everything. We can do on the net. We can do everything on net. We are doing lots of things on net. New technologies like iPads, social media, e-money and NFC. These are the things which are making people enhancement using internet, mobiles very rapidly. Due to that, 24/7 access of the mobile and internet making people busy and generating huge number of data which is going to convert, and we say that we'll have a zettabytes of the data. What are the challenges for banks? Banks are facing lots of challenges nowadays due to industry regulatory challenges. The constant evolution of local and international regulation is a major driving force in bank and securities industry. The likely introduction of Basel II, Basel III standards as example. We had Basel I around 90s, then Basel II came into 2002-3. Now Basel III has been come into the market. Why we are getting upgraded version of regulations? Because it means banks are not using the data sources in a better way. They are not able to track the consumer's record, customer's record. They are not able to fulfill the gap analysis, and that is the reason why banks are not able to predict the kind of risk, profitability and capital money in a better way. And that is the only reason we are coming up with upgraded version of the regulations. There is likely to be an increased focus on capital efficiency. Introduction of new oversight rules and bodies may also have far-reaching implications for the industry. Implementing all these rules can be an issue. Its real challenge is more about optimizing regulatory investment than merely compliance. Industry offering operational efficiency challenge. To appropriately address strategies and regulatory challenges, impeccable execution is a major deal. Constantly improving operational efficiency has to be high on the agenda for bankers. So, question is that, is IT department of bank is ready to govern these solutions? Is IT ready to access this opportunity of multi-level data? No. That is the challenge for banks. To implement, to have a strong capability, software and IT team. The next couple of challenges for the banks are very big. They can even not think if that will happen, what will be the solution? Suppose in 2020-25, Google comes with an idea that he is going to open a bank. If LinkedIn is going to open a bank, Facebook is going to open a bank, Twitter is going to open a bank, what would be the bank will do? Because these Google, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter had ample customers. They are more far away in terms of the customers' information. they have trustful customer information, they have 100 times greater customer than a bank. So if Google, which is God on the earth, everybody use Google, everybody has at least Gmail accounts. If Google is going to open a bank, it's a far away. No banks can compete with them. In fact, if we see a couple of days back, a bank in India, even Subbarao, who is governor of RBI, has launched a new scheme that even corporates which has 10 years of solid balance sheet, they can open a bank. Now you can think, Deloitte, 160 countries operating corporate is going to open a bank. What would be the challenge for banks? So bank is not even facing the data problem, the implementation problem. They are very afraid if Google, Facebook, LinkedIn and Twitter is going to open a kind of financial corporate or banks, what would be the solution? For that, banks need to concentrate on IT solutions, strong IT capabilities with big data uses to come up with a kind of very upgraded and new version of analytical solutions. What are the failures of our banks? Fail in accurate prediction of models, which leads failure in risk and capital calculations. Failure in organizational framework of governance and compliance, implementation of models, wrong macroeconomic factors calculation due to different geographies, lack of strong data management system, unavailability of resources in meeting stringent timelines and industry requirements, financial liberalization and supervisory controls of major banking crises. Couple of years back, when Lehman Brothers got bankrupt, the whole Wall Street shocked. Why? These were the certain reasons why Lehman Brothers got failed. These are the certain reasons for the failure of bank's operations. We need to think. We need to sit on a table, business person, analytical person, IT person need to be on a table and think what would be the best approach to solve these problems. No one can solve these problems stand alone. We need to come on a table to come up with a better analytical assembled IT solutions, which is robust, which should be global and robust across the period of time, and there should be a very strong implementations and monitoring process across the analytical model. How do banks make money? So banks take the deposit from the customer and pay interest rate of 5% on savings account or current or deposit accounts. Bank invest those money on the mortgage to take 10 to 12% of interest rate. In terms of that, banks total ROI is 20%. So we can say debt to equity ratio is 10 to 1. So what would if bank become greedy and they start not keeping the whole capital with themselves, start borrowing whole capital on higher interest rate to get more profit? The debt to equity ratio become high and banks doesn't have the required minimum capital, and then banks start fail in low economy. Is the banking function ready for the interaction? As a consumer, we use mobile, we use smartphone, we use web, we go ATM. There are other several channels where consumer use their information. Permanent banking functions are shopping, business, leisure, day-to-day life, secure payment, trust integration. Is bank really ready? Are they really getting the data from the mobile, smartphone, or web, or ATM? Are they having only those information which was provided by the consumer while at the time of application? Are they having only application and transactional data? Are they ready with the social data? Are they ready with the text data which we talked in our earlier slides? No. We need to collaborate these informations. What are the banks need to do next? Track behavior, correlation with transactions, understand, predict and influence, adjust risk exposure. Continuously listen and analyze about the customers' problems, customers' behavior, track customers, look at the customers, gather the information, analyze those information. We need to restructure the data sources and customer information in a larger scale and robust way using the big data sources. Only then we can have the enhanced analytical solution, and only then banks can make the profit. So we need to be focused on continuous monitoring process. We need to implement a very robust solution to do an analysis. The essence of social intelligence: listen, understand, and engage. How can banks improve the dialogue with their customers? Using these three ways, they can be in a better solution to engage. Can the bank use social available data? How do we engage in social networks as trusted friends? How do we acquire social unstructured content? How do we understand social media content? How do we correlate social media content with banks' operational costs? Customers will share data for benefit on Twitter. When they purchase for ticket, they go to McDonald's and Pizza Hut. They go to Facebook. They go on different bar and restaurant. From there, we can get lots of data because customers share the data there. Shopping community, customers go on shopping community center. From there, customer information can be gathered. Benefits for the bank: understand customers' buying pattern, sole sources for integrated banking services, high customer retention, actively engage to sell new services, marketing and upselling through consumers' community reach, strong brand recognition. Additional needs on top of core banking: operational system, internal digital content and social media side, external web content and social media side, big data, structured and unstructured, driving analysis, employee knowledge, business enhancement, personalizations, and other many things to enhance, to add on the top of core banking to come up with the enhanced core banking to provide more customer insight to run the business in a robust way and in the competitive market. To analyze these things, whatever we have talked in last couple of slides about big data, use of big data, how to use big data, what are the bank's problems and challenges, what banks need to do, we can use those information of big data and can provide certain solution to the banks using predictive analytics, which was my goal to talk about, to connect analytics with the big data. So predictive analytics, in my last webinar I have talked on a couple of tools on predictive analytics, so I am not going to talk about those things, only we will talk on a broad level to connect the big data and banking problems with the big predictive analytics, so that the people here who are attending this class, this conference can go and think to analyze predictive analytics, how to use predictive analytics, and how to apply this. So predictive analysis is a set of techniques from statistics and data mining that analyze current and history, make predictions about future events. We have several tools available both commercially and freely, and several libraries for statistical analysis. Predictive analytics provide business intelligence and fun. Predictive analytics helps your organization anticipate changes so that you can plan around your strategies that improve outcomes. By applying predictive analytics solution to data, you already have your organization uncover unexpected patterns and association and develop model to guide front of interactions. With these unique insights, you can prevent high value customers from leaving, develop models, successful products offer, identify and minimize fraud and risk. Predictive analytics gives you the knowledge to predict and power to act. So predictive analysis is only way to analyze this big data and provide a robust and global solution to the banks and ask them to act and provide the customer insights so bank accordingly they can make a strategy and they can enhance their profitability. On the next slide, number 24, there are certain ongoing models which banks run and build up to understand what's going on and how can they predict the risk, how can they predict loss, how can they analyze the customer. So certain models are here like response model. If they offer for a loan or credit card, how much are going to respond. So rather than having application and transactional data, if we start putting all the data which we talked in earlier slides, we would be able to generate more response and that will increase the bank's profit. Segmentation analysis, it's a very strong tool to analyze customer behavior of different buckets and similar buckets. Usage model, spend model, we can analyze customers that where are they using their cards, where are they spending the money, and based on that bank can create the strategy. Market mix modeling, there are lots of social media data. Based on that, we can analyze customer to predict what the customer could be thinking in future. Penetration model, activation model, acquisition model to acquire more customers using the social media analytics, other big data resources to acquire more customers on the book. Cross-sell upsell model for the customer who are on the bank's book, they can use the cross-sell upsell marketing campaigns to make customers more loyal, more profitable, and by that way banks can charge lots of interest and can generate the money. There are several risk analytics models like loss forecasting, like delinquency level model, and credit risk model like probability of default, exposure at default, loss given default, market risk, value at risk, good bad model, fraud model, recovery model. To analyze these models and to build up these models, we need a strong analytics capability team who understand what is logistic regression, linear regression, survival analysis, multinomial logistic regression, cluster analysis, discriminant analysis, time series forecasting, Bayesian inference, exponential distribution family, and machine learning. If we understand these tools and techniques, we can build these models using big data sources and solve the bank's problems. There are several other models based on objective and requirements. We do not have the time and we do not need to discuss that. We only understand if we have the big data, we have a strong IT team. Using these analytical models and capabilities, we can enhance our product and solutions, and we can provide a better insight to the banker, and that will make a profit to banks. Different analytical products are in the market. So when I talk about the analytics product, there are lots of companies like IBM, FICO, Deloitte, and other IT and analytical companies which use analytics as a capabilities and assemble it using the software and make it a product and sell it into the market. So rather than building the, all the times analyzing the data, treating the data, building the model and come up with the insights and same model, we can make it as a product. We can sit together, we can think what are the different challenges, we can which we can put into the products and make a kind of very robust and global ID in simple products for analytics, which will make bankers life easy, that if he puts or he inputs some data and he can get some kind of reports and fancy charts to understand what their profile is doing, what the portfolio is doing, and how can he understand whole portfolio in a very less time and in a beautiful manner. Quantitative job markets there. If you do see lots of quantitative job markets there, like credit risk, strategy, consulting, trading, other. So risk management, portfolio for fixed income. So people are providing their solutions. So this pie chart is actually telling about the people who are sharing their knowledge across the industry. Recent research topics are like unified visual analytics, where we can do research on structured, semi-structured, data indexing, and similar rank visual analytics. There are lots in risk management and preventive control for sensor data mining like sensor techniques, Bayesian analysis, data warehouses, data integration, coordinated views integral, visual analytics techniques. There are other parameter optimization and visualization techniques like parameter tuning and computing optimization, machine learning techniques like GPM, random forest, neural network, Markov chain, Monte Carlo simulation, etc. There is huge competition of 15 million across industry is going on, that is a heritage health data mining competition, where people are using lots of text analysis, machine learning techniques, and other software languages to predict that how a customer, how many days a customer will stay in the hospital. So you can think how money oriented and how technical has been this data, so that using these big data sources we can solve lots of big problems which enhance the organization's growth. Thank you so much for participating and attending this webinar. I am done with my thoughts and talk. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask me or mail me given below, that is abhaykant@gmail.com or abhay.srivastava@essexalg.com. You can ask your questions here also through the organizer, and they will and I will get the questions here if you ask on this webinar, and I will be happy to answer your questions. Please go ahead. Monica, you can see how the people can ask the questions and I can answer them. Thank you so much.
Well, thanks for the insightful presentation, Mr. Abhay. I have assigned you a few questions. Can you see them in the questions pane?
Let me see where is the question is this. Yeah, it's very small. Can we see it as a bigger screen? Just let me do it. Yeah, I can see there are a couple of questions. Let me address this question. Thank you, Monica. Priyank Jain has raised a question that I want to know how data warehousing useful for business. So Priyank, if you are here, then data warehousing, as we discussed about big data. So if you build a kind of a big robust data warehousing where you collect all the information of application level data, transaction level data, different social network sites data, telecom data, and somehow you can create a kind of data warehouse where you have larger number of columns and rows, and so that you do not need to go here and there to generate the data and merge them using a query. You need only a data warehouses where you write a kind of complex query and you can extract the information from that data warehouse to provide the information to the business. It would save your time. It would save your kind of complexity to search the data. You can be only focused on one data warehouses to provide the information. So that is the use of data warehouses. Second question is Ankit Rane has asked, can you please specify any real-time case in which bank has solved any of its problem using predictive data analytics? It's okay if you cannot name the bank. So Ankit, let me answer you the question. There are several problems, where banks have solved the problem. In 2008, when mortgage crisis happened due to subprime, and banks failed because of wrong prediction. So they came up with the new risk prediction tools, and they predicted their PD, LGD, EAD in a different way. They forecasted loss in different statistical way to keep in the eyes that what happened in the past, and using different statistical tools and business implementation, they tried to solve a better risk solution and better regulation compliance and to predict the models. There are lots of other predictive analytics cases has happened in the past where banks was not getting good response rate, and using logistic regression consultant helped them to predict lots of customer, and told them that this is the response rate and this is the way you can increase the profitability. I hope this is the answer of your questions. Then our Sharif has asked a question, which is the most famous and widely used open source BI tool. So I think that you can use the SAS BI tool. That is the best I can say. And if you want any specific answer, you can write me a mail. Then there is a Sachin Prakash. What are the other tools apart from Hadoop? So I do not have more information on this because I am not working on the big data and implementation. So I think you can do the Google to get the alternative of Hadoop. I have a news that LinkedIn has created one tool. I don't remember the name, so that is exactly working like Hadoop. I think that is the answer of your questions. Then Abhay Bapna has asked the question, how different is predictive analytics tool different from statistical tool? So Abhay, actually predictive analysis is kind of sub part of the statistical tools. Statistics has a wide range. Whenever we are going to predict something in future, we say it as a predictive analytics, while all the techniques using for predictive analytics is part of statistical tools only. So statistics is a big range. Within that we have predictive analytics. Then Sharif again asking, any cloud-based BI tools available in the market which we can learn and get into this field? How is the job market for this? I can say job market is very well. There are lots of cloud computing BI tools are in the process, and people are working on this. I do not have much idea because I do not work with the IT team as such. But if you want, I can get the answer for you, so you can write me a mail. Then Deva Rajan is asking a question that how useful big data in healthcare. So Deva, as I told you in my last 10 minutes back, that there is a competition going on for healthcare, 15 million competition only to provide the best solution for healthcare. The problem is very simple. What is the length of stay of customer in hospital? So if you admit in the hospital, how many days you will stay in the hospital, that is the problem. But for that, US healthcare is giving $15 million, and competition is running since 2 years. Many companies across the geography are participating. Even professors and individuals have participated in that competition, and the data is very small. So for that, people are very it's very tough to predict. So people are using data sources from here and there, from the insurance companies, healthcare insurance, etc., etc. So if we have a kind of big data warehouses for healthcare also, from where we can get lots of information, it is useful for us to predict it, because prediction is depend on data. The better data, the better prediction. I think it is answer of your question. Abhay is again asking a question, what are the tools used for unstructured data? So there are lots of tools, like we used Hadoop, then BI tools are there. There are SAS tools which can make the unstructured data structured data, but still 80% of the data are unstructured, and we are we are working on that, how to make unstructured data as a structured data. So might be you can hear something in near future that something, let's say ABCD name come up to make unstructured data as a structured data. Then Vivek Nesti is asking a question, can you tell us more about how company is making profits by providing solution to big data? So I discussed it already in my slide that big data can be beneficial in some different way. Let's say first, there are different data marts and you are collaborating them as a data warehouses, one way to make the money. Second, you are selling the big data, you are selling the big data solution that you can structure the unstructured data for any organization using big data sources. You are providing some information and you are selling the data to the certain organization which are going to open the company or startup companies like civil and other credit score sell their data to the bigger organizations, Freddie Mac and Freddie Mae in the US, etc. So that is the question of your that is the answer of your question. Then Viren Sharma is asking which database good for handle the big data for the telecom. Right now I do not have any answer, Viren, for this. If you can drop me a mail, I will answer your question because I do not really work for telecom right now, so do not have any idea as such. Then P. Srinivas is asking a question. If I need to start with big data appliances, say my data is unstructured, from where do I start? What are the tools available? What is the high level approach? Any material available for beginner in this space? So Srinivas, there are lots of material on the Google, and you can start working on the understanding what is the Hadoop technology and how the Hadoop is developing. So it would give you a kind of initial starting to understand how can you start unstructured data learning and problems, and then you can be on a good phase to collect those information to understand that what will be the next for you. And probably you can be in touch off the line so that we can discuss it on a larger scale, because it will take lots of time to discuss here. Thank you for that. And then Narendra is asking a question, can you list few big data tools which I can use for analytics? So Narendra, there is nothing as such big data tools which can be used in analytics. Big data can be used to make the unstructured data structured. One second, to make a data warehouses where we can pull all the information in one shot based on our requirements to analyze the data and the problems. So for your question, first we need to understand what the big data, how to make the data warehouses, how to collect all the information at one place, and then what is our requirement to analysis, and based on that only we can start doing analytics. And then Nikhil is asking a question, can you please specify any tools for predictive analysis? Of course, there are lots of tools. So you can use free tools like R and SPSS, Minitab. If you are working with any company, then SAS is the biggest tool to analyze the predictive analytics. It is the one of the biggest tools which I think 90% of the companies are using. But R and SPSS are also able to handle the predictive analytics. The only reason we do not use as such R and SPSS because they don't handle the big data, and that is the problem. I think that is a question, Nikhil. And then Rahul is asking, is SAS a prerequisite for understanding big data? No, you do not need to understand SAS for big data. Big data is separate case and SAS is separate case. SAS is the one tool to analyze the big data. SAS is not a tool to make the big data. So big data is totally based on software ensemble thing where you use some queries and you collect all the data mart in a data warehouse, and we say we have all the information connecting social media sites and other things. SAS you use as a tool to connect, analyze the big data like other tool which I discussed. But SAS, it is not necessary to understand big data using SAS. That is answer of your question, Rahul. Now, Bhavani is asking a question, how can we store big data in cloud security? So Bhavani, I do not really work on cloud, so I do not have any idea for this question. You can Google or can connect with other people. Prince is asking question, what is the prerequisites to learn Hadoop? I heard that Java is required. FYI, I am a data warehouse guy, but not Java guy. So, Prince, in my company, there is a person who is PhD in computer science and doesn't work on the Java. He is actually working on C++ to make a data warehouses to understand the big data. So it is not necessary that if you are not a Java guy, you cannot create or understand data warehouse. You can do that using any language, but the only thing that the prerequisite is that you should be clear in one language to make the code, and you should be clear in your thought process how to collate those data mart to connect with the data warehouses. I think I have answered all the questions. Mohini, I do not see any questions in my span now, so you can take over the call.
Well, I'm really thankful to you, Mr. Abe, for conducting this webinar. It was indeed a great session. I would also like to thank all our participants for the support in making this webinar a success. The recording of this session would be available on techgeek.com by tomorrow. Thank you all. Have a great evening.